Now, Lucy.
Yes.
Understanding aging in Kenya. Just take us through pro-aging organization. What are we talking about?
So, pro-aging organization, it is a Kenyan national NGO, which was founded by myself about 5 years ago. And the main focus of the organization, it is to promote the lives and the well-being of older people in Kenya. This is including their health, including their rights, including anything that affects them. We champion and advocate for the older persons in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And who is an older person? An older person is anyone by the Constitution and the Charter of the UN. It is anyone who is 60 years and above. Mm. And I think that's what informs maybe our governments to have people retire at 60. Mm. So from 60, you are an older person. And for your information, they are not called the elderly. The right word, it is older persons. Mm. Because you could be older than me by a year or a day. That doesn't make you elderly. Mm. So a lot of people mistake. They say elder, wanafikiri ni wale wakongwe. Mm. No, anyone who is over 60 and above is an older person.
Mm. So Lucy, what brought you to forming the organization?
My background is geriatric nursing. Mm-hmm. That's my first. Maybe you've never even heard the word geriatric. Yeah. Geriatric it means older persons. Mm-hmm. And that cause is actually not even orphaned even anywhere in the country. Mm-hmm. I studied abroad in the US. I did nursing. I have a BSN in nursing. And it's not just nursing, it's specifically geriatric nursing. Mm-hmm. And
I have to ask, before you become geriatric, how old must you really be? Not just 60 and above.
Sorry?
For somebody to qualify to be geriatric, it's not just 60. You need to be a little older than 60 to be geriatric, isn't it?
No. Geriatric involves even medication with the older. That's why I talked about geriatric nursing.
So what age qualifies you to be geriatric?
To be geriatric, actually, I think it's still 60 and above. Mm. Yes.
Okay.
Please go on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's how, and I worked there for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And I was always comparing the care I saw there in the US and here. And there are so many policies and good laws that protect the older people there. And they were not here. So I came back in 2012. And I thought I would be more useful here in Kenya in policy making or improving the policies of older people than in the US. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go for a political seat to become a member of parliament so I can have those laws and policies enacted on behalf of the older folks in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And so I went for the seat twice. I didn't make it. The votes were not enough. Mm-hmm. And yes. And because my point was to make a difference in that area, I decided that I don't have to be a member of parliament to do that. And I could still do it even when I'm outside. Mm-hmm. So that's how I founded the organization. Mm-hmm. Yes. And we're in 47 countries, it's a national NGO. So we advocate. And then, how did I choose to do it? Mm-hmm. I realized a lot of people just take old people for granted, and they think it's the responsibility of the family or the community to take care of them, of which, when they think about care, they think care as just giving food and money. That's not all the older people want. So, so that's what drew me to that. And we need to create awareness. We need to advocate. People need to understand the older people. They are not just about just seated there and giving them food and just getting old after you have retired. Mm-hmm. They can do more other things. They can be included in more things, even in decision making in the country. You don't have to be in the office to make a decision. So to create awareness, I decided both the young and the older, because right now we are not just addressing those who are already old. It is even those who have not gotten there for them to know how to prepare, including yourself. And how do we get to these people? I thought a lot of people, they are online. And the easiest way to get this message to people is going through the social media and all the media. So though I've been in all medias, including mainstream medias, talking and telling people about this issue. It is an issue. So until we as the Kenyan community take this one as an issue, we are not going to succeed. So I started advocating online. I have a big YouTube channel called Mworia Network. I have been to all media houses, maybe except for this. I'm happy I
Welcome
met
to the
with
Situation
Sigei.
Room.
Finally, I'm here. And yeah, so we're doing that for the last 3 years constantly. And we do interview all stakeholders, members of parliament, those people who are retired, they're directly affected, everyone, to get to know exactly what are the needs of the people of Kenya. And that's how I gotten to know what do we really need. Yeah, that's how I came to know. It's not about money. Like now it's Christmas time. A lot of us will go home. You're thinking you're going to see your parents. Your parents are not statues. They are not cinema. They are not film. They need to spend time with somebody. They need attention. It's not you going there, parking your car there, and then give you chicken when you're coming back, and you tell people, I went home to see my parents. No. Our parents need more than that.
This more that the parents need. This more that people who are elderly, people who are older persons. These older persons, when you say you've understood and you've taken time to understand what is that they need.
Yes.
In Kenya, what would you say are the fundamental challenges that older persons face?
Number one is ageism. Ageism is when you treat somebody because of their age, including our government, including even people like you didn't know that this is an issue. The media also need to understand. So ageism is just, hawa ni wazee wamezeeka, kwa nini anakuja kusimama atakuwa MCA? Why would he come to contribute anything wakati yake imeisha? Like you, if you go out there, you say you want to become MCA, you mzee anaenda wapi? They don't get to understand the experience.
Lucy, you've decided I can't be an MCA.
It's not me. I'm talking about what ageism does, and it is doing it, and it's a reality. It is there. Of course, you you can. So ageism is one of them. The other challenge, actually, it is health care.
Yes.
Health care, most people actually, as they age, it's when they got all these diseases. They've got lifestyle diseases, they get the diabetes, they get the mental health, they get all these, whatever it is. That is the age when everyone is having a cocktail of medication. Even the parents you're saying you're going to see, most of them you are taking medicine to them. So it is a big challenge because there is nothing, no policy that directly takes care of that. Currently, actually, it is even worse right now. The day before yesterday, I visited a home in Sagana, a Catholic home called St. Mary's Home for the Older People. There's a huge number of older persons living there. They cannot even register them with SHA. The SHA demands that for you to be able to register, you must have a phone. These are people who need help. These are people who are not even working anymore. But they must have a phone because you must register it through your own phone. How do they do that? They demand that you must pay 6,000 before the SHA starts working. We are talking about retirement age, it's 60 and above. These people are working, they're not even working. And let's not just confuse with the few maybe who have something too. And even the few who have salaries today, when you're home out there, There's nothing that is income generating for you, and daily income generating. There's nothing you're waiting for. You could be having you bought farms, you could have built buildings, but if you gotten sick, like you have a toothache in the middle of the night and you have to rush to the hospital, you cannot just say, I'm going to sell my car, I'm going to sell my farm. So they do not have anything that is actively generating the money for them. So it's becoming difficult, especially now with the SHA. They cannot go to hospital directly and be treated. We have a lot of them with dialysis. Dialysis costs $9,000 a week if you have to one session. If we go privately, if you are to do 2 sessions a week, that is 18,000. How many people can afford that? Remember, we are talking about retired people, of those who people are not making any income at all. So that's also a challenge. The other one is physical. The physical one is you could be physically abused. That's abuses. We have a lot of them. We are in Nairobi today. Where are our parents? Where is your parent?
My mom is in my house right now.
Very good. Because it is Christmas time?
Nah, she's been here for a while.
She'll still go back?
Yeah.
Your mom?
Both my parents passed away a while back.
But you have something like an auntie or someone who is over 60 and needs attention.
I myself am over 60.
So what you're saying, so most of them, and if you want to be honest, you have seen it, even if it's not your parents, they live in the villages by themselves. They are left with the workers, for those who can afford to have a maid for them or a male person to work for them. They are abused, they are raped. If they are men, they are sodomized. And these things go unnoticed because they already know that you are not even coming tomorrow. You live in Nairobi and you come in December to see your parents. And if they talk, they are afraid to say, they have confined with me and we talk. And they say, we can't say because no one is there. I'm left with these people. So that is another challenge. They are physically even beaten. You saw like the case which was in the Okoh. Yeah. None of our media houses realized that until BBC came to see their older people being abused there. I can't blame the people who have kept them there. The women from the church decided instead of these older people staying at home, we can put them together, feed them, because they think the need is only feeding. So that's another challenge. They even, like in the coast, I've been there several in Kilifi, the minute you have some gray hair, you are killed because your children want to take your land for them to buy motorbikes.
Is Kilifi the only place where you see such cases?
No. Even Kisii. I told you I'm in 47 counties. I've just given an example.
Oh, that's just an example.
That's an example of how physically they are abused. So they beat them up.
Are the numbers of people who are abused because of their age, is it a large number, given the numbers of old people number of people who are above the age of 60? Would you say those who suffer?
Actually, those who suffer more, they are those who are aged. Because like most, as they age, if you are married, maybe one of your spouse is dead. And if you, especially for women, so even the cousins or the brothers want to take your land, and that is culturally it's like that, which that is very wrong. They want to evict, and especially when you have no children. And it's even worse when you are older, you have no children, you have no spouse, and you are disabled. That is a triple tragedy.
It would be, my question is, if we look at the number of people who are above 60 in the country.
Yes. Okay. They are about 3 million now. Yes. They are 2 point something, but that was by 2019. I'm sure by now they're over 3 million.
They are definitely over 3 million.
Yes.
Of these numbers, what percentage would you say fall into the category of people who are abused?
The people who are abused?
Yes.
It could be more than half, yes. It's more than half because majority is those who don't have anything or anyone they depend on. Yes.
So you're saying that very many people who are above the age of 60 don't have anybody they can depend on?
Yes.
And this is...
And the depending on means, before we were assuming that children are there to take care of you. And our children went to school so that they can take care of you. Today, they are full in the villages. Most of these older people, they are the ones taking care of their grandkids because their children have no job. They come in Nairobi, they go to cities looking for jobs. These people are left. It is not the way it was before. So they are more.
Do you have statistics to support the very statement you've made? I'm going to explain to you why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
Because it is indeed something serious.
Yes.
When you have a population who are above 60.
Yes.
Who, if you say maybe half, suffer the indignities that you mentioned.
Yes.
And yet, before you get to 60, there was something you were doing.
Yes.
You are part of a group of people who are responsible for certain things that happen in the country the way it did.
Yes.
So the things that people who are now younger and take for granted were either built by you or probably damaged by that same age set.
Not probably. You did build them in one or the other.
Yes, and also caused damage.
Yes.
Now, that it exists, it means you built.
Yes.
So now we're saying that people of that age bracket, one, didn't have the understanding of what it means to prepare for old age. Because you are now old, and it's like you're figuring out what to do with yourself when you're old. The means by which you are supposed to live, clearly, you either didn't think of it, or if you planned something went wrong. You mentioned you hope that if you took your children to school, they are the ones who would support you, and that doesn't seem to be the case because many don't have jobs. And there are cases where some have jobs, but they neglect parents.
Yes.
Okay? Is that the picture?
That is a picture. That is exactly what it is. A lot of our older parents, or even some even in our bracket, they still put all the effort on their children. They even sell the little lad they have, hoping, because of the mentality, and that's why we need to educate people to know the difference between of remembering you in the list of your list of things to do, not just putting your children there, and finally, you're not even sure they'll get a job. And even if they get it, they go. Most of them today, they are not even within the country. They leave the country. You find the parents who tell my children went to Dubai. No, they went to Warabuni, wengine wako US, wako wapi. And these children to them, sending money is helping their parents. And remember, these parents could have sold their land to educate you. And that is it. So when the Kenya Pro-Aging is talking about pro-aging, it's not about the age only. It's preparing these people. Another thing that has affected is the lack of policies, lack of act of parliament by our government, because like in Article 57, the only place where older persons are mentioned in our constitution, although the constitution is not supposed to be elaborate, it is Article 57, it is a responsibility of the state to make sure that the older person's rights are protected. We do not have an act of parliament in Kenya today to have all the things that we need to have for older people like the other countries. That's the reason I told you why I wanted to venture in this area where no one else has talked about. Right. We have tried. There was a bill called the geriatric bill, but it was more on health side. And it was in 2022. It was presented to Parliament by Governor Mushomba. She has also been to my show to explain Kenyans what happened. She said the bill was told it was privately sponsored and it was dropped. That was in 2022.
2022. I think let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, we go into preparing. You say this conversation is not just about the elderly. It is about preparing someone for that.
The aging, the aged.
And the aged, yes. So let's take this short commercial break. When we come back, we also tell you about what KCB through the Tujiajiri program is doing for the young people who are unemployed, which according to you is also a
it's
problem.
One of the issues affecting now older people.
So after the break, we tell you more about KCB as we go deeper into the conversation this morning. It is 32 minutes after 8 a.m. Good morning that you need. And even right now in our conversation, we've talked about unemployment being one of the factors that is affecting the aging in the society. KCB is preparing the young people, and perhaps through your help now, we are able to help young people plan for what is to come in the future. So this is where we are at the moment. These are the problems that we are experiencing, that we are not planning for what is yet to come. So take us through that when you meet with these young people, when you meet with those who are getting to this age.
First of all, thank you so much. And I do applaud KCB for that. I wish every other organization, institution in Kenya was doing the same in a small way, and we all meet in the middle somewhere to help these people. One of what I hear from the young people, because I also meet with them, most of them, they have reached a point of being so much discouraged. Even if you tell them about even going to school, most of them are dropping out. And like the university, education now is like very expensive. Most cannot afford, and others now get discouraged that even those you got and those degrees, what are they doing with it? So because actually even our education system has also brought this confusion, because we think we go to school so we can get a job. And job, we are talking about it, is formal employment. Because even doing your own things, maybe that's what's the current system code of education? CBC. Yeah. It is to equip people to think beyond just waiting for a white-collar job. I think our education system has also contributed to that. And that's how the mentality of our parents thinking that when we take them to school, then get a grade A, just getting a grade A. That's just cramming and get a grade A, you are okay. And now they come out there without any skills. So I think we should concentrate, I myself and all of us as a community, getting to have our young people or the people who are working right now to have extra skills that they can do things even without waiting for a white-collar job. And that one now, I'll beg, that's how we can incorporate that in the policy we are talking about, the senior older persons bill. Because there is no separation of older people and their children. Their children now are becoming their biggest burden. The way you used to have your grandkids coming and taking care of you, not anymore. It's you taking care of them. Because your daughter, your son, has no job, they are not going anywhere, they bring them in the house. So you find retired people, they are not having any income generating activity, and yet they are the ones to rear these children.
Now we're talking about policies that need to be put in place to cover these demography, and I'm very careful on the words that I'm picking right now.
Yes.
And here's a question where the young people in conversations nowadays, there's this thing that they call the black tax. Young people saying, I'm paying black tax because my parents took me to school. I need to take care of them and everything. And it's perhaps because they do not understand the need of being there, not only just sending money, not only just going there during the holidays to see your parent, but making sure that each and every time you are part of them as a community. Same way they raised us, it is our time to be there with them. And it's not only from the aspect of family, son, daughter, parents, but a matter of a community and a country taking care of its, I'd say, of its citizens who played a great role in building the country. How do we have that conversation so that everybody understands and is on board this conversation?
As I was trying to bring out the challenges, actually, I did not mention this one. It is also among, besides the ageism and the health, this issue of loneliness and isolation. Social isolation is there. And this is where these older people are just very lonely. They are not included. The children have forgotten them. Even the community, even the religious institutions. You know, you are as good as when you can be able to go to church and give your tithe there. Once you get old, and I'm talking these are things, I visit these people, you find them, I'm told. They say, even no one visits me. Maybe a few say the Catholic Church, they go to give them Holy Communion. But because they are not able to come to church the way they used to come when they are strong, they stay at home, and that they need these social gatherings to be somewhere, to communicate, to talk to somebody. We had a case, I'm sure you are aware about that, the lady who died in Vika by herself for 9 months in the house. She has children, some of them are pilots, others they have good jobs, and one of the sons claimed to be sending, they have a standing order to send the mother 20K every month just directly to the account, to the phone. He was sent for 9 months and no one entered the gate. She was found dead with her dogs, because that is social isolation I'm talking about. These days, people are just for themselves, God for us, and man for himself. No one even knows their neighbor. In the villages, we used to, maybe they knew, they passed by, say hello. That is the social isolation I'm talking about. So we should understand that that is where now the policies need to come about, when, like in the West, you find they have like these homes for the older persons. But when you mention that, also you hit another challenge, because they say we cannot go throw our people out there. The issue is not throwing them out there. It is where there's someone who can look at them. Instead, would you rather leave your mom in the house or dad by themselves, or would you have them in a home where you can call somebody, that's my mom, amekunywa ndawa yake, amelala aji, you send someone is taking, and most of them, they're on medication, they're even developing dementia. They can't even remember if I took the medication or I did not. So the social isolation is another huge problem. And because of this, my suggestion of the organization, if funds were there, we have daycare centers in at least every location, if not every ward, we have a daycare center. This is where the older persons can be meeting once or twice a week. They socialize, they eat together, they remember, they meet their colleagues they went to school with 70 years ago, and they walk with that. They talk things about whatever they want to talk about. There's nothing as dangerous or as bad as you being locked in a room without talking to somebody. You don't even know what to do. You have no hope. Your hope is so. These people, if they're in a center like that, even our young people in schools could visit them. They can even talk to them and give wisdom to these young people. So they are heritage. They are wisdom. They are everything. So we cannot just throw away the experience. Your experience cannot be bought. What you know, someone who came from college yesterday cannot be you through your experience. You may do not even have a degree, but the experience. But us, we have people taken for orientation, going for trainings, like the people in the government all the time. Immediately you are 60 years, everything stops. No one even needs to hear from you. No one thinks Lucy or him or you can offer anything. It's very unfortunate. In other countries, these people are made use of. They are their advisors. There are people who made Lenana School, Alliance, the best schools in Kenya, and all these Miranda, all these schools. Where are they? Don't they have? Their knowledge is still there. They should be their advisors. Even if they don't have to work every day, we can involve them, include them, even once a week. They attend somewhere where they can give their wisdom. And still that will reduce the amount of isolation and loneliness in them.
You know, we have a youth bulge.
Yeah.
The vast majority of our population in this country, we're talking about 70%, are young people. Now, the largest portion of our population still happens to be still in the rural areas. Are we saying that the sort of communities that some of us understood to be part and parcel of the rural areas have also changed? Because the support system that people of my age knew growing up was one where, excuse me,
bless you,
one retires and goes home. The reason is because there's something to do. It may not be economically viable, but you are not exactly idle. And as for a support system, it's an enclave within which there are relatives. But now, are we saying that people who are young, the people who one could have relied on, either have left the rural areas or have gone to centers? Because with the devolution, urban centers have been created in 47 units within the country. I ask this question because the West moved from that model of community existence a long time ago. The reason why Christmas is what it is here in town, because everybody wants to go to their rural homes. We still place some value on those rural homes. Now, when you tell someone to adopt the Western style of looking after old people, especially as what it seems like is you're abandoning your parents. And in many ways you are.
So, you said it very well. Urbanization has caused all this. There's actually no more villages the way they used to be. A lot of people, the so-called educated, even if you look back in your villages, when someone gets some money or some job, they start buying their land in Kitengela, in Kitusuru, in Karen, and they start building and living there. They buy apartments. There are no homes that, even going to retire home, that is not there. Another statistics maybe you have not known, like in Nairobi, we have a lot of people who retired and they never went anywhere because they have nowhere to go. Lack of preparation, what you're saying. And the preparation, actually, it's not necessarily that you'll prepare yourself so you can go to your rural village. Maybe even there are no relatives there anymore. Yeah. So it's the preparation. It's not necessarily for you to go back to the rural area. Maybe even you didn't have land there. You didn't even build. Very few people who can afford even to buy land in Kitale and build your home there. So most of them, urbanization has caused this. And now to add more injuries to that, the devolution, now people are moved to urban towns. Let's say it's Siolo, where I come from. Instead of being in Martigar, Batula, where your villages are, the young people are moved to town in seeking for greener pastures. So still, and especially the pastoralists, even they are hit more, because now for them, they used to move as families. Yeah. Not anymore. You educate your kid to go now to get a job and come back home. They don't. So what happens? You are left there by yourself. And that is what it is worse, actually, for the pastoralist.
So in terms of having a policy, from the aspect of the government having a policy that will look into this matter conclusively, making sure there is an act of parliament, as well as I see one of our Fiona Kemoli is asking about the Alzheimer's, I think I'm pronouncing it well, Alzheimer's and Dementia Organization of Kenya. What's up with that? Do we have that in place?
What is dementia? Mm-hmm. Dementia, it is degeneration of the brain. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think it comes as a result of aging, which is not true. It can even start even people who are 30 years. And Alzheimer's it's under all these diseases affecting the brain, they are under dementia. Okay. It could be Alzheimer's, and this is forgetfulness. You see, somebody does not remember the things. I can drive my car here. When I'm going home, I don't remember I came with my car. I start waiting for matatu. I'm in the kitchen. I was cooking. I forget. I start burning the house. Or you are like, I come to you. You are my dad. You're scared. Who are you? Yeah. So it starts like that, and it's progressive. Okay. So that one, but mostly actually is older people, and that's why we need people who understand these things. Sometimes you could be dealing with someone with dementia and you don't even know. You think wanajifanya, they are making themselves. My mom these days that I stopped going to see her because she is so rude, she is this. You don't know she is sick. And that's where in the policies that we are talking about, we should have where we can incorporate the training of caregivers who understand the older people. In the whole country of Kenya, the whole country, we just have one geriatric doctor, someone who understands. One. She just finished school last year. She's of Asian origin. She has been also to my show. And she went to school in Scotland because it is not even in our universities here. Yeah. So she is the only one in the whole country. Even the department do not have. If you go to KMTC, you will not find that course offered of caregivers. And when you find a lot of people here in this country, you hear, we've sent people kwenda kufanya kazi huko nje. Most of these people, 90%, they go to take care of the older people in those nations where their government have policies for them. Na wataki, hakuna kazi ingine utaenda kufanya huko. Utaenda hii wanaenda yote ni kuchunga wazee wa nchi hiyo because their country values their people. So mnaenda mnaambiwa mmetafutiwa kazi nje, mnaenda mnaajiriwa huko kuwaosha, kuwachunga.
But does that not require training, looking after older people?
That's what I'm saying. In the policy, we need to have even trainings. We need to have, like when the homes which are established right now, they have nothing to protect. When you have a home, because there are some cases, even if you want them to take care of at home, you can't. Someone with dementia, someone is removing clothes, someone is fighting, someone doesn't even understand, even when you tell them eat, they won't. So how do you take care of them at home? In the rural area, that's where the government comes in. That's why we need these homes, because they need to be taken care of. There is a dignity. They have the rights also. In the Bill of Rights, they are also Kenyans. They need to be taken care of, protection of the older people.
You know, religious organizations in this country are the only people I know who had made attempt at having such a home. But they are
Catholic, really not all. Very few.
Really, so few.
Yes.
There are other privately owned homes of that nature spotted all over the country, but
for a regular person who cannot afford to go to the private one or to the, if you are not in the Catholic, they have a few of them. Like the one I told you we visited, I was there on Friday. It's in Sagana. But still it's unkept. They cannot afford because it takes a lot of work. You need to pay these people. No one pays for those workers. These workers themselves, they don't even know how to take care of another person.
But what it tells me is this. We actually haven't embraced this idea of ageism. We haven't understood that actually we have to structure this thing.
Yes.
What happened in the past was simple. You were in a home and we more or less lived in a rural setting. Grandfather, great-grandfather, children. So that system worked. So it didn't matter when you're old, they always would look after you. That situation no longer exists.
Yes.
So,
but that does not mean that the people stopped aging.
No, people still age.
Still age.
Yes, they do.
And they have the same needs they used to have that time when the family was around them.
Policymakers may not understand the severity of the situation because when they look into the future and aging, they don't see themselves encountering these problems. And yet, as you say, we've seen isolated cases in this country where someone's affluent enough, but they're alone.
Yeah.
Yes. In these current homes here.
Yes,
we do. Today I'm also visiting a home somewhere in Runda this afternoon. And these are not people who are like, do not have shelter. These are not, but they are lonely.
Yes.
But you know, we want to have policies, interaction, where even school kids, where even university students want to say, today we are visiting this area, we need to spend time with them. This is what we are talking about.
And you have actually placed it really well, that even for our legislators who are there is good to look for political capital. They might look at the elderly and say there is no political capital here because of numbers. Now they're going for the young people and everything. But at the end of the day, this is a group of Kenyans who built this nation,
Yes.
who deserve the dignity that we are talking about in this show right now. And even now that Kenyans have traveled to be with their parents, be gracious, be kind, be with your parents, take care of them, show them love, because at the end of the day, we all will get there. I'm just shy of 30 years and getting there as well. So as we prepare ourselves to get there, each and every single person to play their part, play your role, and be a Kenyan, a citizen who takes care of those who built the nation and everything that we enjoy today. Now, Lucy Mworia is the CEO and founder of the Kenya Pro Aging Organization. Thank you very much for gracing the Situation Room this morning. Asante sana. It is now 9 a.m.